Hey, comic lovers, EMoney, the old man, and Thor the Dog of Thunder here. Hey, buddy. Hey, you were so good when we started today, weren't you? Yeah. Good boy. Good boy. All right, so what are we talking about today? Well, we are talking about all the cool stuff that's going on at Marvel and a couple of video game projects that are coming up as well. Also, we're going to be talking about comic book reviews and previews. And also, I'm going to be telling you guys a little bit about the fun stuff that both Thor and myself got up to this past weekend. So, a lot of stuff to cover today, don't we? Yeah. All right, old man. Toss a coin to your shepherd, Ohio Valley of Plenty. Toss him a treat. There you go. This is Back Issues. All right, comic lovers. So before we get started today, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications, give us a thumbs up, and if you like, leave us a comment. You can tell what you think about some of these stories, or you can just say hi. Face the fans, buddy. All right, so tell you a little bit about what went on this weekend over here. Well, first of all, myself and Thor the Dog of Thunder took a little trip down to Bernheim this past weekend, where we paid another visit to the Forest Giants, as we've seen them a couple times. And Thor was really good. You know, I've given you guys updates on Thor's socialization progress throughout the time that we've known him.
And you know when you take him to a forest, he knows they're not real, right?
Yes.
Okay.
At least I would hope so. But, we saw a couple dogs on the trail, and he was really good with most of them. There's something about other German Shepherds that Thor, it kind of triggers him. I don't know what. It wasn't anything big. It was just a growl when he saw another German Shepherd. But any other dog he saw on the trail, any other dog he saw on the trail, he seemed fine with. And he got fairly close to a few of them. One dog, he got a little fresh, and he kind of, dashed to the left where we were and came up behind Thor, and Thor, notices him, but doesn't, show any signs of aggression. So, he was really good on that. And also, meeting new humans, he was really good with.
He's always been good with people.
Yeah, walking on a bridge, this guy comes up, he's like, oh, look at this beauty, and comes up and gives Thor a couple head scratches. So, really good on that, and hope to continue his progress going forward. So that's Thor. Also this Sunday, I worked on a little feature film that I'm going to be in. And we actually finished up the production that has been kind of on hiatus for a little bit, because we knew we had a little bit more to do. We had probably 90-95% of the movie already filmed, and we stopped last year around this time, and I hadn't heard anything about it, and I wasn't sure what was going to happen. I wasn't sure if we were going to just go with what we had and hope that that was enough to complete the movie, or we were going to film again. But this past Sunday, we actually managed to finish filming, and going forward, everything's good. So hopefully I can tell you guys more about the project as new details emerge, and we get a poster, we get a release date, when we're gonna be screening at a festival or a convention of some kind. We'll share more with you guys as we go. The one of the director/editors for the project told me that you missed it.
Stay.
Told me that the scenes that they have edited, a lot of the ones I steal the scene in it. Now, I don't know if he's just being nice, but hopefully it was a lot of fun, and it comes across that way in the final product. All right, so we'll tell you guys more as it comes out. All right, now on to some regular entertainment news.
Well, that was irregular?
Well, I guess it was small-time entertainment news. All right, so on to our first story. We told you guys last week about how Henry Cavill will be leaving The Witcher. Mostly, according to reports, over creative differences with the writing staff. Well, not unexpectedly, fans are not ready to let Cavill go without a fight. So soon after the casting change was announced, having Liam Neeson take over the part in season 4, a petition was launched to convince Netflix to do whatever it takes to get Cavill back on board, which includes firing the writers instead. In a matter of days, the petition, which can be found at change.org, has officially surpassed the 100,000 mark. Now, I checked the site just over an hour ago at the time of this filming, and it was over 142,000. So I expect that by the time we actually post this video, the number will be well over 150,000.
You signed it?
Not yet, but I will. Probably by the time this posts, I will have signed it. So the petition description reads in part, "Let us show them in pure numbers and thus lost money, because that's all they really care about, that none of us Witcher fans will stand with them and will abandon the show and potentially our subscriptions after The Witcher Season 3 is concluded. Netflix can only exist because all of us pay them monthly to produce content that is entertaining for us. Unfortunately, all public information points towards a production team making decisions that are completely opposite to the fans' our interests." So, I don't know how much difference that petitions for change.org actually makes, but I've told you guys before, fan outcry has changed things in the past, but there's a lot of moving parts on this one, so only time will tell. I mean, they got, in the past they've gotten, Firefly to make a movie to wrap things up and give fans some satisfaction back in the day. Also, you remember the show, gosh, I've forgotten the name of it now. What was the name of the show with Skeet Ulrich, the post-apocalyptic show? Jericho. Remember they got them to make a half season to wrap things up?
Yep.
So, like I said, fan outcry can make things happen, but not always the case. So we'll see what happens with that. All right, and on to another video game series. HBO has just dropped a new Last of Us poster ahead of the show's premiere early next year. And, I would say The Last of Us has been a pretty highly anticipated series for HBO for a while now. And a lot of fans of the game out there are excited about it. And, I'm going to show you guys a picture of the poster here. And I will show the old man a picture as well.
Nice.
Yeah. So, do you want to see it, Thor? There it is, right there. Okay. All right. So, if you haven't played the game before, which you should, The Last of Us takes place 20 years after modern civilization has been destroyed. Joel, a hardened survivor, is hired to smuggle Ellie, a 14-year-old girl, out of an oppressive quarantine zone. What starts as a small job soon becomes a brutal, heartbreaking journey as they both must traverse the U.S. and depend on each other for survival. So, if you haven't heard, Pedro Pascal from The Mandalorian will play Joel, and Bella Ramsey from Game of Thrones will be playing the part of Ellie. And, there's going to be a pretty impressive cast throughout the season as well. I know Nick Offerman will be playing, I want to say the character's name is Steve, but if you play the game, he's the paranoid survivalist guy who has all the traps set throughout his little area, and he gets ticked off when Joel and Ellie come traipsing through his territory. So the first episode of The Last of Us, there is a actual date. The one that doesn't have a date is the next story I'm going to be doing. But the first episode of The Last of Us will air Sunday, January 15th of 2023.
We're going to break HBO.
Yep. All right, and then on to our last story today. A new casting announcement from Disney is that actress Aubrey Plaza has signed up to play a role in the upcoming Disney Plus series, Agatha: Coven of Chaos. So, details on her character are being kept under wraps, no big surprise there. But she is believed to be playing a villain. So, does this mean that Agatha will find redemption given the events of WandaVision? We'd say it's a safe bet since she's the main protagonist of the show. But, I mean, protagonists are often anti-heroes, which I think may be the case here. But we're not sure what to expect from this. We're still not really sure what to expect from this spinoff. We have heard that Coven of Chaos will lean a little heavier into the horror genre than WandaVision did. So don't be surprised if the supernatural, mystical corner of the MCU is explored to at least some degree. So does this mean that we can expect at least some cameos from the MCU's new developing horror genre?
I'm all for it.
Yeah. I mean, can we see some, appearances of Man-Thing or Werewolf by Night and Bloodstone?
Mm-hmm.
What's her name?
Bloodstone.
Okay. Different things like that. That would be nice to see. I mean, She-Hulk. She did a kind of a guest star of the week sort of vibe. I mean, I'm not saying you have to have one every week, but just seeing new people pop up, I think keeps the show interesting. So we'll see if Agatha follows that line of writing. All right. So no release date for Coven of Chaos has been set yet, except that it's expected to drop sometime in 2023. All right.
That's a big window.
Yeah. So that does it for today's entertainment news. Let us know your thoughts on this. You ready to sit here and wait for us? Because that's how it works, right?
Here. Give you one for the road.
All right, let's head inside and talk about comic books. All right, so first up today we have our mentions, things that we want to talk about for some reason or another that just didn't make the top 3 cut. Usually it's because something interesting that I found was in it, or maybe it was it got a lot of popularity, a lot of hype going into the release date, and I want to give my 2 cents on it.
This time we have 2 honorable mentions and a third book that honorable from you, dishonorable from me.
Okay.
So we'll see. All right, first up, we have Batman number 129. As usual in Batman and Detective, I got the cardstock variant.
Okay.
Just because I think they're party.
All right, so in Batman 129, this follows the failsafe story. And what the failsafe is a contingency plan that Batman put in. If you remember the storyline in Justice League called Babel a couple years ago about the Legion of Doom, I think it was, what was the name of the guy who's immortal?
Savage.
Vandal Savage, that's it. Okay, Vandal Savage stole Batman's plans of how to take out the Justice League if they ever went rogue. So during...
Boy, the League got mad that he had that.
And in the aftermath, Superman asked Batman, what's the plan for you if you ever go rogue? Well, apparently Batman put a plan in.
Of course he did.
And that's failsafe. It is an android, which is pretty much Batman's, like a lot of Batman's consciousness, if not all of it, put in to take out Batman if it's ever activated and that Batman goes rogue. Well, the false report, that Batman killed Cobblepot, it has activated failsafe.
Penguin.
Yeah, and now failsafe has been activated and he's coming after Batman. So, in the issues leading up to this, failsafe has already taken out the Bat family and then the Justice League.
Taking them out as in neutralizing them, not killed them.
Right, because this being a plan that Batman put in, he had to account for the Bat family and the League getting involved at some point. So at the beginning of this issue, Batman has taken sanctuary in Atlantis at his request and called in a favor from Arthur.
Aquaman.
And failsafe has figured out where Batman is, and now he starts coming for him. Well, a lot of the Atlanteans aren't so happy that Batman is seeking refuge here.
No, they don't want to put a big target on them, on themselves, because of Batman.
Yeah. So some of them are saying, let the land robot take the surface dweller or something like that. So Arthur, he gets into the guy's face and he says, "How many times have you saved this planet?" And the guy, looks at him incredulously, like what a ridiculous question. And Arthur says, "If you asked Batman that question, you'd have to wait while he tallied up his answer. You live and breathe the oceans thanks to Batman. Protect him." Now, in the comic books, I don't know just how many badass moments Aquaman's ever had, but I'm counting this as one of them.
Oh, definitely one of them.
So, Batman has put in a plan to take out Failsafe once he leaves Atlantis. He doesn't want to endanger Arthur any more than he already has, so he has to speed up the timetable here.
But since Batman created Failsafe, wouldn't any plan he comes up with, wouldn't he have already set up a counter to that?
I mean, it would have to be something
out of the box,
something that didn't exist when he built Failsafe. Some new thing that Failsafe couldn't account for.
What I've seen, Failsafe
adapts.
That, yeah.
So interesting to see how this plays out. Batman 129, the Failsafe storyline comes in at.
We gave it 3.5 shields after we rounded it up.
3.5 out of 4. All right, next up, another mention.
Let's go Batman again.
We're gonna do another Batman.
And this is a Black Label book, which means it don't count. Not continuity. But it's pretty cool. It is Batman and the Joker, the deadly duo.
All right, so in this story, Batman is on the trail of a new threat in Gotham, something that many people are claiming to be the Joker has done some pretty horrifying things to some victims, like dismemberment and even resorted to cannibalism. Now, Joker's, he's done some pretty horrible things in the comic books.
Oh, yeah.
But the trail that this thing is leaving behind, it's just not the Joker's MO. So Batman is rightfully not convinced that it's him. Now, he's not getting a whole lot of help from Gotham's finest right now because Gordon is out of town. He's on vacation.
What?
Yeah. Gordon took a vacation.
Gordon takes it.
Well, I'll bet you.
Definitely Black Label.
Well, I'll bet you Barbara had to pull his arm in order to get him to do that. Well, Batman gets what information he can from Bullock. Meanwhile, the rest of the Gotham PD is, being more of a hindrance than a help. Then he engages with this creature who resembles the Joker but is not the Joker. And he finds out that he's, stronger and faster than he had anticipated. Batman's fought, Justice League level villains, so I don't want to say he's the strongest, fastest he's ever faced, but, for being a Gotham level threat, this guy's a problem. So then he makes contact with an old foe of his, which brings us to the title of this story, Batman and the Joker, the Deadly Duo. So I won't spoil any more from there. Just, I do recommend you pick this up, and it has Mark Silvestri in the credits here.
If you've been in comics for a while, you're familiar with Mr. Silvestri.
Right. So, Batman and the Joker, the Deadly Duo, #1, ends up with
4 shields after we rounded it up.
4 shields rounded up.
And that one almost made the top 3.
Almost.
All right, next up.
What's wrong, old man?
It's got to be a character who has had more #1s, more miniseries than just about anybody besides Batman. I mean, every time you turn around, there's a #1 something for Deadpool. Oh, Deadpool #1.
All right. So in this new Deadpool #1, this is Deadpool #1, Volume 9, in case you're wondering.
Yeah. inside the book, it doesn't mention any volume.
Well, according to Key Collector, I should say it's volume 9.
Right.
All right, so Deadpool has been taken captive by a woman who is called the Harrower. The Harrower.
Harrower. I
And-
can't say it either.
And based on what I've seen here, she's basically the Marvel version of Poison Ivy. So she is, in the business of growing plants and deadly plants, and that's her whole shtick. Well, she's been trying to combine her plants with that of symbiotes.
Another subject that I just really don't care for.
This checks all the boxes for you, right, old man?
Yep.
Deadpool and symbiotes. Right.
Wow.
Yeah. So she's been having trouble combining the two because the symbiotes seem to kill anything that they start to bond with. So she needs something that can heal at a rapid pace. Hence, Deadpool comes into it.
I mean, Wolverine or Deadpool.
Mm-hmm. Also, something for you speculators out there. If you look on Key Collector, this says this is the first appearance of several villains here.
There's a scene where everybody's sitting around a big meeting table,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody in that scene is pretty much a first appearance.
Right. And you got characters named Mirror, Alakadon,
Why don't they use words that people can pronounce?
the Horned Emperor, Last Bite, and Lord Deathstrike. Now, I don't know if any of these guys are going to be anything. This being a Deadpool comic, they could all be dead next issue.
Or maybe this issue.
Right. So, as far as the overall quality of this issue is concerned, a lot of people, they get excited when anything, new Deadpool comes out. But as far as we're concerned, I think, the old man and I are both like, eh.
Yeah, I mean, we gave it 3s across the board.
I mean, it's not horrible.
Nope.
I mean, it's
It's Deadpool, not horrible.
I mean, is perfectly serviceable artwork. I would say it's leaning towards 4 for me, but I ended up giving it a 3. And the story is okay. There's nothing I would write home about. So
Why would you write home about it?
I don't know. So if you're speculating, you might want to pick it up, or if you're just a big Deadpool fan, you can do that too. All right, so Deadpool #1 ends up with
3.
3 shields out of 5. 3s across the board. All right, so that is our mentions for this week. Now, on to our top 3.
All right. So,
And we got, there's a lot of bad stuff this week, but just in the top 3, I think we got some nice variety here.
well, you still have a kind of bat book, but anyway. All right. Number 3. These guys have met before,
Mm-hmm.
so it's no surprise that in Punisher, Daredevil shows up.
All right, so as you may know, Punisher is now the head of the Hand.
He's the beast of the hand.
Right, the beast of the Hand. So Daredevil somehow, catches wind of this, and he sneaks on to the Hand's island, and he just kind of confronts Frank, and he's like, "What the hell are you doing, man?"
They never agree, although I don't know what Daredevil's complaining about. Isn't he in charge of the
Yeah, him and Elektra, they're in charge of the Fist.
yeah,
so
which is
it's like,
basically another version of the Hand.
I mean, I guess the notable difference is that Matt and Elektra, they don't have, powers from the Fist.
Oh, in case we haven't told you, the Punisher's got superpowers.
Yeah, he has been given powers from the god that the Hand worships, and it's some dark mojo here.
Oh yeah.
And so, obviously they trade a few words, and then they start throwing fists at each other. And one thing I thought was kind of funny here. So in the middle of their fight, Frank's power starts to, surge up.
Manifest.
Yeah. And, his eyes are like, burning and everything. And Matt says to him, "Frank, you realize your eyes are on fire, right?" I'm like, how would he know that? I mean,
Daredevil's blind. How
I mean,
could he know that?
is he like using his other senses to see it somehow?
Maybe
or
if his eyes actually throw off heat.
maybe.
I don't know.
But I don't know.
They should
it's
have
like,
taken one sentence to explain that.
Yeah, it's like the writer forgot he was blind for a second. So the artwork in the main story is top notch.
Oh, it's above top notch.
Right. The art in the flashbacks, which is obviously done by a different artist, is it's okay. So then, towards the end of the comic book, it teases what's to come in the next issue, and I think we're gearing up for a big throwdown here.
A big Donnybrook.
Mm-hmm.
A slobber knocker.
So Punisher number 7, our number 3 pick for this week, ends up with 4 shields out of 5.
All right, that bat book I mentioned is The Joker, the Man Who Stopped Laughing. Another case where I had to get the card stock variant because it's party.
Okay, so a little spoiler for the first issue in this series if you haven't read it yet. Okay, so in the first issue, Joker comes back to Gotham after the events of the Joker story involving some business down in Texas that happened with Gordon and Vengeance and a few other people. So he comes back into town and he wants to pick up his business again. Then the other crime lords in Gotham come to him and say, "We don't want you anymore.
Yeah, things are going pretty smooth. We don't need you."
Yeah, things have changed, and we've pretty much absorbed most of your people, the ones that were willing to come on board. So we don't need you anymore.
Now,
So they
would you get right up in the Joker's face and tell him he was obsolete, face to face?
maybe right before I shot him in the face.
I might wait till after I shot him just to make sure he killed him, or it's, maybe an email or something. But I'm not going to go mano to mano with the Joker and say, "Nah, we don't need you."
I remember a episode of Batman the Animated Series where a guy told off the Joker in a fit of road rage before he realized who he was. And then he had to promise to do the Joker a favor somewhere down the road in order to forgive him. Which, side note, first appearance of Harley Quinn that episode.
Huh.
All right, so anyways, Joker kind of hightails it out of Gotham, and he makes his way to California. Oh, I forgot to mention, he had the whole situation with the crime lords, he had a bunch of people hostage during that time, and, he shoots one of the hostages in the head who was blindfolded, and, he kind of dumps him. Well, it turns out that hostage didn't die. So, Joker makes his way to California, and, he sets up shop there, and he has kind of a nationwide scheme going here. Meanwhile, that hostage that didn't die, we follow him a little bit. Then we see him stumbling out of a bathroom at a bar he made his way to, and it appears to also be the Joker. So now this so this whole thing about who's the real Joker kind of comes up here. So
Would the real Joker please stand up?
Or
please
don't.
stand up.
So the Joker who's got shot in the head and is stumbling around Gotham, he makes his way to Harley's place. Well, that was a bad idea.
Yeah.
It kind of, makes someone think that maybe this isn't the real Joker because
He would know better.
Yeah, because the last time Harley saw him, she beat the ever-living shit out of him.
Yep.
And Harley says to the guy, "The real Joker would never come to see me, and if he did, he'd never walk out of here." So, both of them are displaying and the acts that look like the Joker, and they themselves look like Joker. So, interesting to see how this plays out. All right, so the Joker, the Man Who Stopped Laughing, number 2, ends up with our number 2 spot with 4 shields out of 5.
All right, next up. I don't know if this is the story they're going to do in the Secret Invasion TV show, or if it's a lead-in, or if it's not related at all. I mean, you know how Marvel and Disney are. It might not have anything to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it was a hell of a story, the beginning of the story. Secret Invasion, number 1.
Okay, so I mean, like the name suggests, it's hard for me to tell you about this stuff without giving you major spoilers.
Because it's a secret.
Right. All right. So we start off with Fury recapping a little adventure he had in Iowa, and apparently there was a report of Skrull activity going on.
And don't tell him how Fury knew. Don't spoil that.
Oh, you mean about the husband?
How he knew what was going on or figured it out.
Okay, I'm not sure which part you don't want me to spoil. There's two.
I'll punch you when you're getting ready to say something you shouldn't say.
Okay. So this woman is convinced that her husband was a Skrull because of the way his attitude has changed. And, he's been cold and distant towards the kids and everything. And then the husband apparently killed himself.
I don't know if he killed himself or just died. I don't know.
Taking in carbon monoxide or something like that. I don't know. But anyways, he's dead. So if you know anything about Skrulls,
I just punched you.
Oh, okay. Well, if you know anything about Skrulls, you know what happens when they die. So Fury is trying to do, pardon the pun, damage control on this whole situation. And,
because he is the resident expert on the planet.
Right.
On Skrulls.
So he's recounting this whole thing to Maria Hill, who is head of the CIA in Langley right now.
Now, see, I miss S.H.I.E.L.D. I really do miss S.H.I.E.L.D. They need to bring them back.
I know. So when he comes into the office, he goes to this kid at the front desk. And, he tells him, I need a retinal scan and needs to check in and everything. And, Fury comes in and he's like, do you know who I am, son? And he's like, obviously I know who you are, Fury. Everyone here does. But the rules say, and he's like, hold on. Are you saying I'm such a horrible spy that everyone knows who I am? Is that what you're saying, son? And this kid is like, I don't know what to say.
This kid's probably never left the desk.
So finally, Fury finally breaks, and he's like, kid, I'm just messing with you. Jeez.
The kid probably had to call his wife and tell her to bring his brown pants.
All right, so the rest of the story, I can't really tell you much more about it because
it's a secret.
Yeah, it would spoil all the fun for you. So highly recommend you check it out, obviously, because it's our #1 pick this week. Secret Invasion #1 ends up with 4 shields out of 5.
One of the few times I gave a book a 5 for writing.
All right, so there's our top 3. Get them at your local comic book shop now if you haven't already. Now, what do we have coming up this week, old man?
All right. Looks like another decent-sized week. It has a couple of your typical Bat books. But along with that, there's 2 Spider-Man issues that come out this week. Spider-Man #2 and Amazing Spider-Man #13.
Oh, that's right. I forgot they restarted the just plain Spider-Man back up again.
Both books have been pretty good. I'm resisting the urge to beat my chest and do my Tarzan yell because there's a Tarzan book coming out.
Oh, okay.
Tarzan.
I was like, Tarzan or King Kong? All right.
No, not King Kong.
All right, but Tarzan, yeah.
And it's called Lord of the Jungle.
Okay.
I forget if it's from Boom or Dynamite or it's not Marvel or DC.
Tarzan is one of those public domain characters, right?
I don't think so.
No?
I think there's licensing involved and you have to pay the Edgar Rice Burroughs estate.
Okay.
Could be wrong. But anyway, so yeah, Lord of the Jungle #1. There's a new Justice Society book called The New Golden Age.
Okay.
And I love me some Justice Society. For one thing, I don't know as much about them as I do the League. There's some of their characters, even though I've known them for years, like Mr. Terrific, Hourman, Sandman, not the Dream Sandman, but the guy with the gas mask. I've never read as much about those guys as I have Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, the typical Justice League members.
Right.
So I'm always excited when they're going to do something with the Justice Society. And then lastly, Fantastic Four #1.
Oh.
Now I got all excited about a Flash #1, only to find out it's just a kind of a version of the movie that's coming out.
Yeah.
And it wasn't very good. So I'm not getting too excited about this Fantastic Four until I read it. But I did pick the one with the Alex Ross cover.
Oh, of course. All right, so there's our preview for this week. Check them out at your local comic book shop now. All right, now let's give you guys a little preview of what you can expect this weekend and also next month. All right, so this weekend we got no conventions, we've got no pop-up shop. We do, however, have a Sunday night toy auction. So join us for that one. And here's the thing. A lot of stuff we've been holding back for Whatnot auctions because, we wanted to, have some really cool inventory for the convention, the Creature Feature show that we did 2 weeks ago. Well, now that's over. Everything that, didn't sell that we were holding back, that's up for grabs now.
So, for example?
Well, we've been holding back our Marvel Legends. So,
which is funny because the very first Whatnot auction we did, all we had was Marvel Legends, and we sold every single one of them.
So we sold one Marvel Legend at the show. So everything else, that's up for Whatnot now. So we're going to be having a few of those in there.
A few, not a lot.
Yeah, we're not going to throw them all in at once.
We're going to spread them out.
Yeah. So then we have a couple G.I. Joe items we're going to be throwing in.
What are those called? What line is that called?
Classified series, right?
We have some of the classified series of G.I. Joe.
And then, we held back a lot of our horror stuff. So our Tortured Souls line from McFarlane, we're going to be selling those.
Yeah, we'll throw a couple of those in there.
Throw a couple of those. We're going to be throwing in some die-cast items and, Marvel.
Whatever we feel like grabbing.
Yeah, Marvel, DC stuff, it's all up for grabs now. All right, so that is this Sunday. And also, don't forget, December 10th, that's on a Saturday, we're going to be doing our Louisville Con. It's going to be our second convention, and it's right in the heart of J-Town. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. Should have some good foot traffic. If you check out the website or check out the flyer, they got some really cool guest stars that are going to be there. So be sure to come by and check us out.
Also, it might be our last public appearance until we open the pop-up shop again in late April, early May.
Yeah,
Might be.
Yeah, I mean,
nothing else is on our radar.
Right. I mean, we don't want to go out of town for a dealer show.
Too lazy for that.
Yeah.
Also, it's too expensive.
Right. So we're going to be keeping it here around Louisville. So we'll keep our eyes open, keep our ears open. But right now, Louisville Con is the last thing on our schedule until we open up the pop-up shop again in spring. All right. So I think that covers that. And anything you want to talk about, old man?
No, but I hear Thor out in their garage and he doesn't sound happy.
All right, let's head back up with Thor. All right, comic lovers, that's going to do it for this week's episode. So, just to cover a few things, don't forget to send us your comments. Let us know your thoughts on comic reviews or any of the news stories we talked about today. Also, don't forget, Whatnot auction, toy auction, this Sunday, 6 p.m., our regular time, Eastern Standard Time. And join us for Louisville Con next month, December 10th. It's going to be a fun time. All right, guys, we'll see you on the next one. Excelsior.
True believers, get us some subscribers. Help an old man out.